You get a couple back this week?
Yeah, we haven't finalised selection yet because we don't play till Sunday. I think we have to put our team in till tomorrow. So Cam Rayner's back available again, which is great. And yeah, so we'll have a good list to choose from.
A normal week-long break has been a bit weird in recent weeks. Has it been nice to get back to normalcy?
Yeah, we had 7 days last week, which was it felt unusual, and I think our players talked about that. I believe that we had a bit of a delayed effect from those 4 games in 13 days last week, and we're a bit flat mentally and physically, so it's been good to have 8 days this week. We trained really well yesterday, and the players are looking good for the game, so we'll need to gather our energy because there'll be another period of compression coming up in a few weeks' time.
You mentioned that flat spot. Zork's also mentioned he's sort of said this, some of the sports scientists said that was to be expected. Yeah. Have you seen a bit more energy from you guys this week?
I've seen plenty of energy from the blokes this week, so I'm looking forward to that transfers onto the Oval on Sunday because it'll need to. St Kilda are a pretty good side.
Do you see them as one of the benchmark teams this year, one of the teams who won better matches, I think?
Well, you can only ever go by the ladder. You know, they've won 8 games, which is one less than us, so it's a pretty full-on competition. They're a team that haven't played in finals for a while. They're hungry to do that, as are we. So you'd expect that would create an environment for a pretty good contest on Sunday.
They said yesterday too that they don't fear the Gabba. They're basically living up here, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting thing, isn't it? I read a lot where we have this amazing advantage up here because the finals might be played here and all this sort of business. And I'm looking at St Kilda going on Sunday will be their 4th game on the Gabba in 5 weeks. We've played here once in the last 7, I think. So I don't see the Gabba as an advantage to us, nor the climate anymore, because they've been training up here for 3 months. So it's pretty even as far as that's concerned, I reckon, this weekend.
Daniel Rich must be jumping out of his skin. He hasn't missed too many games over the years from suspension.
No, he hasn't. So yeah, he'd be looking forward to the opportunity of playing again.
Thanks. You've had such a settled team since you've been here, but the last few weeks because of injuries and suspensions, you've had to juggle it around a bit. How disruptive and how nice would it be to settle in the next week or 2? Yeah,
I actually reckon it's been good that we've been able to try some other guys in the team. I think we've needed to do that. So I've seen that as a positive. Naturally, as you get into the pointy end of the season, you like to have a settled lineup, but gee, you don't know what can happen on any given weekend, so that can change in a flash. So yeah, we'll just take our luck as it comes.
How impressed have you been with those boys that are filling in, the sort of inexperienced boys, even at training and that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, we always talk about the idea that teams win games, but squads win premierships. You need to run deep. So them having the opportunity to play some senior football really helps in the bigger picture, because you don't know whether we'll require them again into the future. So the more experience that they can get, the better. And the good thing is they're getting games on weekends against other AFL teams. Scratch matches though they might be, they're still great hit-outs.
You seem to be struggling settling on one person for that backup ruck role to Oscar. You've given a few guys a go now. What have you thought of them so far, and why you're sort of cycling through so many of them?
Mainly to see what our best option is going forward. And all of them have shown good signs at various stages. We'll keep working our way through that, and hopefully Steph and Archie will come back online at some stage as well. So I think it's just important coming into the pointy part of the year that you know what your best options are.
So how's Steph going?
He had a good scan during the week, and he's back starting to do some training. So we're hopeful that he might re-emerge before the season finishes.
Charlie Cameron's been so good for this club. Are you expecting a big response from him this week?
Yeah, he had a quiet game last week, lowered his colours to his opponent. But he's a great competitor, Charlie. He's trained well all week. He's looking forward to the game.
He admitted last night that it's a mental challenge playing sore. Obviously he's not injured, there's no structural problem, but is that the next step for him, is to overcome a bit of adversity when things aren't going his way?
No, I think he's done that already in the past. I don't see that as something Charlie has to do to prove himself. If you remember rightly, last year in the last final that we played, he dislocated his elbow in the first quarter and came back onto the ground and played a pretty fair game. So he's got that capacity in him. He just had a week last week where he was a bit off, I think. So I don't see that as something that we've got to keep working on with Charlie.
teams are going?
Yeah, I can't comment on the rugby league teams, but if the finals were to be played up here and the grand final were to be played in Brisbane, that would be a fantastic boost for our code in this state. We've been trying to get some traction for a long time, and you know, hopefully with the Gold Coast going well and Brisbane going well, then it'll be another boost to it, and hopefully more kids will play footy and more people will get interested in the game. So I see it only as a positive.
Mitch, have you had to have a
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question.
have you had to have a chat to him about his social media habits?
I read a book a long time ago entitled "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff." I reckon it's small stuff, and yeah, we've had a conversation as we would, but we've put that to bed and we're moving on.
We spoke to Alan and Cal yesterday about the Free the Flag campaign. The club's officially come on board. How important is it that the AFL gets behind that and other clubs sign up?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, obviously the Indigenous players have offered so much to our game. I was watching Fox footy last night and for well on an hour and a half, and they interviewed a lot of the Indigenous players and talked about past Indigenous players, and you know, Eddie Betts did that terrific narration about what it means to him, how the game brings a smile to his face. Well, for all of us, the Indigenous players bring a smile to our faces, so anything the AFL can do to help out with their cause, we should do.
Al was also saying how hard it's been for him, you know, sort of this season being on the selection outer. What does he need to do to get back in, sort of, you know, a chance to come back in?
Oh, the important thing is he knows what he needs to do. It's probably not something that you should discuss at a press conference. His form's been quite solid with the reserves team in recent weeks, and he's definitely putting his case forward.
Just one on St Kilda, Fags. They've got a lot of dangerous little small forwards, which have in the past has given your team the odd trouble, not the same with other small forwards. This year, Brandon Starcevic has sort of claimed one of those defensive roles. Can you just tell me about his development and how important he's been in your
Yeah, he does bring that speed, and he can play on those types. Look, I would have been hopeful that he would have played more games of footy than he has by now, but he's been sort of, first couple of years he's had a lot of injuries. So this year, touch wood, he's been injury free. He's lined up on a number of good opponents. He's been able to get the job done, as has Noah Answorth. So with those two boys, I feel like we've got capacity on those smaller forwards for the opposition to hopefully do a good job at negating their influence.